And Devin, the world and universe are both exciting and curious places, but sometimes people need to push the boundaries a little to create room for change.
Yeah.
That is why today for On Our Mind, we're asking who is our favorite explorer or of Earth or space, Devin?
I'm going to take the space angle here, and I like, because astronomy is really cool.
Right.
And I'm going to go with an old classic, Neil Armstrong. He's the first name that comes to my mind, the first man to set foot on the moon. And I know we're trying to get back there someday, but that'd be really cool to look back at the exploration of the moon.
Yeah, no, it's certainly an excellent choice, to get out there into space, step foot on the moon. It's, an exciting time. I went with a little more grounded option, grounded, pun intended. It was Alexander von Humboldt. Maybe a few folks know him, but he was a German scientist back in the day, and explorer, and cartographer, and forester, and naturalist.
A man of many titles.
Yes, he had many titles, a very curious individual. But back in the early 1800s and late 1700s, he did a bunch of exploring for scientific purposes, South America, and it was a neat adventure. So he documented and mapped down a bunch of different areas, including like the Amazon River area, Venezuela, Colombia, places like that. And then he did a bunch of mountaineering, and he would map it all out. And he would write down the species in a notebook. So he named just dozens and dozens and dozens of different species of plants and animals and all sorts of things like that. And on top of that, he started out back in Germany at Freiburg University, which I also went to, so that's...
Is it Freiburg or Freiburg?
Freiburg.
Freiburg.
Yes, so down in the southwest part, but he went there for mining. So he developed a bunch of mining sort of measurements and stuff like that.
Mining was huge back then, especially in the UP. It's obviously not much anymore. I mean, it's definitely quieter up in the UP, to put it in that kind of context, but...
So he kind of revolutionized mining back in the day in the late 1700s.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, so that was kind of neat to see that way. So a man of many talents, but he liked to explore the deep depths of the earth as well. So he would go down there with these gentlemen, and he learned how to keep the flames going in their helmets and whatnot and stuff like that, and when things were safe and when they weren't. So, an explorer in many different aspects, much like Neil Armstrong, also explored the depths of space.
My goodness, that's information overload right there, if I've ever heard of it.
There's a book, in case you're interested, called what is it called? I think Measuring the World, I think it's called. That's what, it's kind of it's based off of him.
Just watch, you'll get that title wrong, and you'll notice that after we go off air for the day.
I hope it's called Measuring the World.
Yeah, right. I mean, you have a phone next to you, right? You can look it up while I issue this flag on you for saying personal foul, unnecessary roughness for that bad pun. That's a 15-yard penalty.
That was a good pun. But
I don't know. I think it was bad.
Either way, Devin, I think it was very interesting that you went, out of the world, and I went, kind of on the earth, in the earth. It's
you covered a lot of bases. Basically, I covered outer space. You covered pretty much anywhere on Earth.
Yeah, but that just goes to show there's a lot of interesting people doing a lot of interesting things, all over the place. And just because you haven't heard of them doesn't mean it's, any less extraordinary.
Yeah, you like to explore those ski resorts.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, Devin. But coming up this morning, we have what's trending still, including a look at the iconic Home Alone home that has recently